Alrighty, hello everybody. Welcome to the stream. Sorry for the delay here. We're getting started right at the 15-minute mark, giving you guys some time to show up. And today we have a very special stream. I'm not going to be showing my face because we're going to be watching replays, and it's just a hassle to pull myself up and down. But I just want to start by introducing our player today, whose replays we will be watching, and it's the one and only Duckling. Now, for those of you who missed it a couple weeks back, CA and Rubber Duck of War put on a awesome tournament event called Teach Me Total War. Now, this event was basically to get new players introduced to the game, or to the multiplayer in particular. Players who only played campaign were allowed to be sorry, forgive me, I'm distracted, and let me take a quick sidebar here. Yesterday, there was a dog running around my street, running out in the middle of a fairly busy road, and I was able to get it and corral it into my backyard. It is like a 90-pound husky. It is huge. It has David Bowie eyes, one blue, one half brown and half blue, and it's a beautiful dog, but it is gigantic. And has no collar and tags, no chip. Took it to the shelter to get scanned, no chip on it. So been looking all over Straydar and other forums on Facebook and stuff to try to find the owner, but I'm starting to get worried that this was an intentional abandonment, as this is a huge, beautiful dog, and I don't understand why it would be let out without a collar or a chip. And so I'm temporarily keeping it with me in my backyard, because I figure my backyard with food and water is better than on the street getting hit by cars. But it's a beautiful dog, very sweet. However, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to keep it, but I'm stuck with it for at least today and tomorrow, because Christmas Eve and Christmas mean the shelters aren't open at the moment. And yeah, but unfortunately can't keep a 90-pound husky, as I have two 10-pound dogs and one 40-pound toddler. And as cool as this dog is, I cannot handle as high maintenance of an animal as like a nearly 100-pound husky. I got a daughter to deal with, so. But I'm going to make sure it finds a good home, or at least gets to a good shelter. And I'm sure, with it being the Christmas season, this wonderful, gigantic, beautiful husky will have a home in no time. Maybe I'll throw up a picture of it in the Discord after the stream so y'all can see it. But now that I've gotten that out of the way, my apologies to everybody here who is here for Total War content and not Lost Dog content. But we're going to get to the replays now. So back to Duckling, who was assigned to me as a trainee, and going back to the format of the Teach Me Total War tournament. That was hosted once again by CA and Rubber Duck of War putting it on. Basically, they assigned 8 content creators to 8 new players. The criteria for new players was they had not played more than, I think it was 10 multiplayer battles. So basically, they're allowed to be campaign players, but they could not have participated in tournaments before, cannot have played more than 10 quick battles. We are focused on people who are not familiar with the multiplayer aspect of the game. So among those trainers, we had Falcon, Rubber Duck of War, a lot of other excellent content creators and players. And basically, we were given our trainee 1 week before the tournament, and over the course of that week, we got to work with our trainees, teach them a bit about multiplayer, show them some builds, give them some advice, play a few games with them, and then we sent them out onto the battlefield that following weekend to face off against the other new players / trainees. Now, it was a 2-part event. We had the first part, group stage, on Saturday, and then the finals went on Sunday. But we're going to start watching his replays from the group stage of that tournament and go through it from there. But before we get into it, I do want to be very clear. Duckling is an excellent player. He has all of the great fundamentals on display. He was very hardworking, and full disclosure, I didn't get paired with him until about Wednesday, so halfway through the week, because my original trainee dropped out. And so he had half the time to train, and due to time zone conflicts, we only had like an hour or two to play together each day, and some days we didn't even play. I was just sending him screenshots of builds, answering questions, giving him tips on matchups and stuff like that. So I do want to give as much credit as possible to Duckling, because he is the person here who really took the time to learn the game and get good here and come out and make such a strong showing in the Teach Me Total War tournament. So I was there. I gave him some advice and, got to play some games with him, but unfortunately I didn't get to play nearly as much as I wanted with him. So I just want to be clear that the games you're about to see on display here are very much Duckling, and, I can't take too much credit here, but I am proud of him nonetheless. But let's go ahead and get started now that we got that intro out of the way, and we'll get to it. Ragnarok, good to see you, by the way. So first match, we're going to be looking here at Nadon and Slippy, and Nadon is going to be Duckling, just for the record. Now, I am going to pause it right here just so I can update the red player and the factions. So for our blue player Duckling, we will have the vampire counts. He does like those vampire counts quite a lot. A faction that I'm not super comfortable with, but really respect players who are good with them, and I think he's well on his way to becoming a very well-known Dark Elf player if he stays up, or sorry, Wood Elf, Vampire Count player if he stays in the scene. Now his opponent was, name I'm forgetting now. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to quit the replay before it shows anything. We're going to load it. Throw in... Okay, I didn't have all the battles loaded up, thankfully. Alright, Slippy. Born Slippy. Don't know how I mixed up that name. One of my favorite Underworld tracks. Okay, so here we go, trying that a second time. Vampire Counts versus the Dark Elves. A pretty common matchup. Seems like both of these factions getting picked into each other fairly often. A sign that both faction mains feel comfortable into it. But without further ado here, starting with my trainee's army, Duckling. The first battle in his saga will consist of Skeleton Spearmen. As you can see, he's got 4 of those bad boys. He's got 4 Skeleton Warriors, 3 Zombies, 2 Crypt Ghouls in the back, 2 Hex Wraiths, a unit that he likes quite a lot, and some Fellbats up in the air. He's then going to have an Air Force with 2 Varggeist and a Lamian Vampire Lord, going to be bringing Seduction, Penumbral Pendulum, and Invocation to Heck. Now, the Dark Elf army here is going to be bringing Dark Riders. Looks like we have 4 of them with repeater crossbows and 4 of them with shields. Then going to have 4 Black Orc Corsairs for the front line. Dread Spears on the wings. Looks like 4 and 5 total, with 1 of them being in the center. And then we have Malekith on foot down here. Soul Stealer, nothing else. Just ready to go in and get nasty. And so here come the frontline engagement. Zombies and skeletons charging into Dark Elf Corsairs. And the Corsairs should have a field day here, cutting through these dusty old bones. But going up to the higher level here, Duckling coming out with his Air Force, and one thing to keep an eye on from him is his breaths have been very on point, and his spell placement, as you can see there, a Penumbral Pendulum, doing a ton of damage as it just rips through 3 units of Dark Elf Infantry. There goes his breath. As I mentioned, Duckling's breaths were so on point. One of the things I immediately noticed about this wonderful new player is that from his campaign experience, he was definitely very he was very skilled at placing magical attacks and breath attacks. So we'll keep an eye on that throughout the battle, but already you saw that Penumbral Pendulum and that breath winning the flank engagements pretty much for the Vampire Counts, hands down. Frontline engagement, definitely going to the Dark Elves slowly but surely, but Air Force is coming back in. And as we can see, repeater crossbows focusing on the Necromancer, who I forgot to mention. It looks like the Lamian Vampire Lord sitting a bit idle, as you can see, since these guys are newer players. They do, unfortunately, have a lot of idle units, the Dark Riders for the Dark Elves. But now we do see the Hex Wraiths coming in, and they're piling into Dark Riders. Dark Riders not going to stand a chance in combat against them. Fellbats coming in too. Got both Manticores in here. Magic will be the biggest danger here for the Hex Wraith, so a Soul Stealer coming down could be a big problem for him, so got to be careful with the bunching here. but I think he's just relying on that physical resistance and that terror to win this fight for him. And right now, he does see an opportunity. Vargulfs dive in through the back line, get on top of the repeater crossbows, and then, once again, another beautiful breath coming in right at the perfect angle through the Dark Elf front line. And he's winning the frontline engagements here with these breaths in the Penumbral Pendulums. He's doing an excellent, excellent job. Vampire Lord staying up in the air, staying safe, not getting pinned down anywhere. And as you can see, the Dark Elves are just kind of crumbling across the board. At least their front line is. Their right flank is still holding a bit more firm. Lamian Vampire Lord now diving into Malekith, though. And as we can see, he's starting to take some serious damage. He's no chump in battle, but he's isolated right now against the Vampire and a Necromancer and some Crypt Ghouls. And Duckling doing a beautiful job screening out with his infantry, so no other Dark Elf units can come in here to support Malekith. And I think this is where the victory is sealed with this Lord kill here. Lamian Vampire Lord seducing Malekith in his big suit of armor, knocking him out. There goes the Soul Stealer. Oh, is it going to go down still? Yeah, Soul Stealer still goes down. It was cast before he routed, so he is regenerating HP, but it won't matter if he is just chased off the map, because, you know, obviously, no matter how much you heal, as long as you're being chased, you're not going to stop routing. Alright. Slippy with his Dark Elves, definitely needing to get these guys pushing, getting surrounds going. You can see the Dark Elves possibly still have a chance to bring this into their favor if they can get their repeater crossbows online. It looks like they're doing that right now, so who knows, maybe Malekith will live to fight a little bit longer in this battle. Over here, great job from Slippy, just continuing to chase Malekith. He does not want him to come back. And then the terror routes over here with the Hex Wraiths. His Hex Wraiths, an interesting pick that was very much his own idea. And after I saw him using them, I decided just, yeah, keep it. I'm sure there's plenty of competitive players who disagree with me, but I always like to have a player put their own flavor into their armies, get their personality showing. And these Hex Wraiths actually worked pretty well for him in quite a few of the battles. As you can see, you know, they're just able to continue chasing down these skirmisher units, the Dark Rider melee units, keep them screened out, keep them terror routing if they get in combat, and yeah, Hex Wraiths really proving to be a very useful tool for Duckling in his builds. I think the dog outside is howling, and I feel bad. But I gotta finish the stream. Maybe I'll take a break and go play with it a little bit. That poor dog needs to get some energy out. Over here, Hex Wraiths continuing to do a good job just mopping things up. Dark Riders keep coming back, but with that big physical resistance, since they are ethereal. Where the hell is the ethereal? Physical resistance, 75% because they're ethereal. And as you can see, the Dark Rider's just not able to get through. Over here, Penumbral Pendulum going down. It looks like it was dodged from what I can see. And the Lamian Vampire Lord just chasing the Manticores at this point, recognizing she can kill him even if it's 2v1. There goes the first route, shattering that one. And it looks like army losses kick in shortly thereafter with the loss of that Manticore. And shout out to the Lamian Vampire Lord. They're my favorite vampire family. And since I didn't mention it earlier, chat, please do let me know if the audio and visual quality is having any issues, and I will address as best I can. Over here, there it is, the victory. Lamian Vampire Lord going to seal the deal. So as you can see, Vampire Lord getting 3,600 value, really the linchpin, as is the case with most vampire builds. You got to rely on that Lord to do most of the killing for you. Vargeist had to be in a tough time with all the repeater crossbows, but they did get some very good engagements. And as you can see, the Hex Wraiths both doing well for themselves. paying for themselves, getting good kills. The terror routes too, you cannot discount. Dark Elf Infantry doing great in terms of kill count, but they were killing zombies and skeletons, and the vampires were able to get those key breath attacks, the key penumbral pendulums in there, and then the hex rates were able to clean everything else up. So very well played to both of these players. Duckling going to take a quick 1-0 lead, and we're going to go into the next battle in their best of 3 right now. So in the group stage, it was split in, there was 8 players split into 2 groups of 4, and those groups of 4 all played each other once. And so like a round robin format. And the top 2 from the top 1 from each group went on to the final. So just so you're aware, that is how this is working. All right, now for this next one, we are going to be seeing the Lizardman for Duckling. He is a very strong Lizardman player as well. He does enjoy the scaly boys. And then his opponent's going to be bringing the Empire. Maybe we'll get some Marcus Wolfhart versus Nakai action. All right, so Duckling bringing Mazdamundi, 2 Skink Chiefs, Cold One Rider, Feral Stegodon, 2 Feral Cold Ones, couple Chameleon Skinks, couple Skinks with cohort with jabs, and then a front line of Saurus Warriors and Spears. So as we can see here, it looks like 2 Spears and 2 Saurus Warriors with shields. And then Mazdamundi is on top of Slack. He is going to be bringing Net of a Mintok, Apotheosis, Ruination of Cities, Banishment, and Shield of the Old Ones. Now for the Empire's army over here, we're going to be looking at Outriders. Looks like 1, 2, 3, and 4. So maximum number of Outriders. He's going to have 4 Empire Knights too. I actually really like this army. We're going to have 2 Great Swords, Burning Head coming down from the Empire, but Duckling is going to see it, definitely maneuver backwards, and that's going to be a negative use of Winds of Magic for the Empire. Their front line, 2 Great Swords. They got Spearmen and Halberds and Swordsmen, and more Spearmen and Halberds. And then for the lead, we have Boris Todbringer on foot and a Bright Wizard with Fire Burning Head, and Boris Todbringer just going to be bringing his Midland Rune Fang to heal himself up. So here it goes. Skink cohort with javelins being very well utilized, just staying a little bit back. One of the best units in the game as far as their utility goes. Their javelins are no joke. You got to watch out for them, got to be careful. Over here, though, you can see Slippy getting some good flank engagements in here. Spearmen and Halberds pouring in behind these cold ones. Duckling trying to slip through the swordsman in front before he takes too much damage. I like that move quite a lot, and it looks like he's going to be able to get at least most of his Cold One Riders out of there as long as he keeps pushing. Feral Stegodon is rampaging. It is terror routed the Great Swords, though, and Boris and the caster are now by their lonesome among Saurus Warriors and the Stegodon. Empire on their left flank, though, doing very, very well. You can see here the Outriders and the Empire Knights have successfully dealt with some of these Feral Cold Ones. Another Burning Head going down, but once again, just not the best timed or placed, in my opinion. And that's going to be 2, Burning Head casts that aren't going to really gain any value for the Empire. All right, Cold One Riders coming into combat now. Empire Knights coming in for a counter charge. Nice counter charge, definitely unopposed. And they are just hitting those Cold One Riders right in the flank, getting a free charge off on top of them, and they're just going to fall apart. All right, Outriders are in here, but it looks like they're on fire at will mode. They need to be shooting this Feral Stegodon. That's the #1 threat for them right now. Over here, the Skink Chiefs coming in to the Bright Wizard, trying to take care of him by the looks of it. Just shooting him point blank with their blowpipes. Mazdamundi now in a very precarious situation. Look at this. Very good move from the Empire player here. He has complete surround on Mazdamundi with Outriders. Mazdamundi is stuck in combat here with some Empire Knights, and all the while he's just going to keep on getting shot. And boom, each one of those volleys is taking off almost a quarter of his health. He is losing HP at an alarming rate, but look, here he goes. He's pushing towards one of the sides of the surround, to get them running, and then hopefully to get out of range of the Outriders on the other end. But this is absolutely great play from the Empire here. Mazdamundi barely hanging on, but looks like he's able to get out of harm's way for at least a moment there. Stegadon going in. Oh, that banishment dropped. Mazdamundi must be so angry. Alright, the terror routes from Mazdamundi really being critical here in keeping the Lizardmen in this fight. They have the balance of power, but Mazdamundi may still be going down here. Over here, a banishment coming in from Mazdamundi. Going to land on top of those halberds, and it is demolishing them. Over here, Net of a Mintot going down on top of some Outriders. Feral Cold Ones are on top of them, so maybe not the worst decision to guarantee that they could kill him, but... Alright, Mazdamundi just sitting idle for right now. 766 HP on top of him. Ruination of Cities coming in. Ooh, actually not doing very... Yeah, doing some decent damage there. Not a direct hit, but still clipping them and dishing out some damage to the Empire Knights. Mazdamundi pushing forward to get some more routes in, but he's hanging by a thread. Over here, we do have the Skink Chiefs getting charged by the Empire Knights. Looks like the Empire Knights are going to call it off at the last instant, though. And Boris Todbringer is coming out to play. What's this? That was definitely a casting I don't agree with here from Mazdamundi. No need to net the Empire Knights in place. Just use an Apotheosis on himself. He did pop an Apotheosis as well, though, so looks like he's going to be okay in the end. He is at 803 HP now. And looks like he's coming out towards the infantry, but he's got to be really careful. If he gets stuck with these halberds and greatswords, or spears and greatswords, he may likely go down. Yeah, now we're starting to take some serious damage. There goes the route. Mazdamundi looks like he's going to be taken down for the count here. Meanwhile, Boris Todbringer getting dragged down by the Skink Chiefs, but he's still chasing them. And it's interesting, the balance power is still very much in favor of the Lizardmen. I guess the Chameleon Skinks are over here full health and half ammunition, so that's probably a very big part of it. And then we still have some Saurus Warriors, and the two Skink Chiefs, I think, are really what's keeping the Lizardmen in this fight right now. If the Skink Chiefs are gone, I think the Empire could win this, no doubt. But the Skink Chiefs are going to prove to be difficult. But if the Empire can somehow get them stuck in melee combat, get Boris on him, then he might be able to pull it off. And it looks like some Empire Knights are coming out right now with that on their mind. So we'll see if they can close the gap. Outriders are coming in too. They're all coming in to save Boris. And right now, Boris, turning tail, running away. Getting shot in the back in the meantime, though. And there they go. Trying to pin down these Skink Chiefs. Skink Chiefs could be in trouble now. As you can see, the Empire getting them isolated. Lizardman forces are regrouped down here, though, and the Feral Stegodon is back. Like what I'm seeing here with the Lizardmen getting regrouped together down here towards the base of the hill. The Skink Chiefs are isolated, but there's nothing to be done about it right now, so he's just trying to keep them running, keep them kiting. If he can continue firing with this blow darts, he can, you know, keep on killing the Cav models and other things. But right now, it does look like the Empire has a lot of units moving to Shattered. Boris Toddbringer, 363 HP, but army loss is kicking in, and that's going to be a GG. Hey, Caxips, good to see you. Welcome, welcome. And yeah, another GG to both of these fine players. Duckling going to take it. And we'll be getting into his next best of 3 right after this. Now, looking at Mazdamundi, some good value there. He didn't get max value by any means, and you know there were some questionable maneuvers there, but I do want to give credit to our Empire player Slippy there, as he was able to get that nice surround with his Outriders. But at the end of the day, I just think this Lizardman army, I like it a lot, and I like how Nandon, aka Duckling, plays it. Not a huge fan of just Burning Head, and there were some not ideal targets for that Burning Head as well. I think the Outrider play was doing okay. Always recommend turning off fire at will, though, so you can focus fire what you want, but overall their value speaks for itself. They all paid for themselves and more. And yeah, I mean, it was just really came down to the Empire just wasn't killing the key units they needed to quickly enough. And then by the end of the game, they hadn't even found or dealt with the Chameleon Skinks, and they didn't finish off the Feral Stegodon, which I think, seeing the tools in their kit, they could have done. But hey, you live and you learn, Slippy. Wonderful games. And yeah, thanks for participating, bud. But Duckling, my wonderful, wonderful trainee, who I'm so proud of, going to win this best of 3. Alrighty. So let's get over here. It looks like we got High Elves for Duckling, a faction I'm happy he picked up and has been playing because I love High Elves. And his opponent is going to be Lustrian Doggo with the Empire. Alrighty. Got the Arcane Phoenix with Emmerich in this build, and we'll see how it does here. Got Karl Franz and the Empire. Karl Franz is a monster, but Emmerich is no chump himself. So, kicking it into slow-mo just because I do see skirmishers on the field. And we'll start with our blue player here, Duckling. He's got Illyrian Reavers, 2 Dragon Princes. He's got Emmerich on his horse with a Life Mage, bringing Staff of or Starwood Staff, Earthblood, and Awakening of the Wood. We have a Frostheart Phoenix, and make it 1. Yeah, 1 with 2 chevrons. For the infantry, we're going to have Spearmen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to have 3 units of archers and a second Illyrian Reaver on the right flank. Now, for the Empire here, kicking it into full speed, we are going to be looking at a couple of Outriders. So Pistoliers, Outrider with grenade launchers, some Empire Knights. We're going to have Spearmen and Swordsmen across the line for the state troop infantry. We got a single unit of handgunners, more Pistoliers, and a Grenader without, or no, just kidding. So 3 Pistoliers on the left flank and a single Empire Knight. Karl Franz with his whole loadout, and the Jade Wizard with the Regrowth, Flesh to Stone, and Earthblood. Hey, Merry Christmas to you too, Raziel Ball. And yeah, Dragon Princes with Emmerich and an Arcane Phoenix. Like, this is just such a sexy cavalry corps. Like, yeah. Style points, 1000% going to Duckling here. Alright, countercharge from the Empire Knights is going to be big. In come the Dragon Princes for a countercharge of their own, though. Awakening to the Wood, going in to slow down the Empire Knights. Oh, I loved that cast. That was very nicely timed by Duckling. slowing these bastards down so he can stay on top of them. They only have 37 speed after that Awakening of the Wood, and these Dragon Princes are going to dominate them. Oh, wow. Look at that. The peeling off. One of them hitting the pistols. The other one continuing after the Empire Knights. I don't know why Imric isn't over here, though. That's my main concern, is Imric isn't supporting his Dragon Princes. But, man, look at that. Already getting some very nice value with those Dragon Princes. Crushing some Pistoliers and crushing some Empire Knights. Flesh to Stone going down on top of Karl Franz to help against the Dragon Princes, I think. Over here, Earthblood coming down from the Mage of Life, and Imric is now coming into combat. And Imric is a monster. Over here, Dragon Princes killing them off. And Karl Franz still just stuck in combat, and he's not, like, enjoying his life too much. But over here, Pistoliers, everybody getting into position to fire away. They aren't Outriders, so they don't have the armor piercing, but they'll still do some damage. Meanwhile, the front lines have engaged, and as you can see, our red player here, Lustrian Doggo, really bunching up his front line. We're seeing here that 3 Spearmen are holding back 6 units of Empire State troops, and that's what you call value for the High Elves. Over here now, Karl Franz still stuck on the ground. Imric is coming to fight him now. Reichland Runefang, Gal Maraz has been popped, but if the Dragon Princes keep him on the ground, Imric is going to be able to knock him out here. Over here, a Terror Route kicking in on top of some Spearmen. High Elves still holding this together pretty well. Oh, Imric getting away, though! Karl Franz getting away, though. And there goes the regrowth. He's trying to stay on keep him on the ground. There goes the regrowth. Karl Franz, desperate to get in the air, and I think he's going to be able to. Yep, that's all he needs right there. He's getting enough seconds. He's going to take off. Or not. Okay, another Flesh to Stone going down on top of him now. Over here, the High Elves in the front line have won quite handedly. You can see over here, Spearmen and Illyrian Reavers, a nice combination to take down these Empire Knights. And then the 3 archers have been able to fire in just like uninterrupted into that huge massive Empire infantry. And the High Elf Spearmen are coming out on top. So very nice frontline engagements here from Duckling. I think he's playing this quite well. Ooh, Awakening to the Wood going down on top of that juicy blob of State Troop infantry. And with their low armor, it's going to do quite a lot of damage. Over here, Mage of Life getting chased by, or sorry, the Jade Wizard getting chased by the Mage of Life, but the Empire Knights are nearby. She needs a run. Oh, there she goes. She's getting staggered. Oh no, she gave up the attacking order. She's stuck on the Knights. And that's going to allow the Jade Wizard to come back here. And now we're getting ourselves into a pretty close ball game here if the Jade Wizard's going to come back. Because Karl Franz is up in the air. Getting shot with some arrows, but he's still alive. Dragon Princes getting kited by the Pistoliers. Empire Knights seem to be giving up the chase on the Mage of Life. What is this decision? So it looks like both sides making a couple micro errors there. Because the Empire definitely just had an opportunity to kill the Mage of Life. And they did not. And Awakening to the Wood going down, saying, hey, don't you forget about me. But the Empire Knights are still just going to keep pushing forward. All right, archers coming out, firing at the Pistoliers. I like that quite a lot. Karl Franz is chasing Dragon Princes who are getting shot by Pistoliers point blank. And now they're going to start to rout. And sorry, those are Illyrian Reavers, not Dragon Princes. But over here, High Elves, once again, I think another mistake. Arcane Phoenix, or sorry, Frostheart Phoenix going after Karl Franz when he has Pistolier support on the ground. So that thing is going to go down very, very quickly. But the balance of power is still very much in favor of the High Elves here, as they do have infantry dominance. And they still have some full health Dragon Princes over here, not to mention Imric. Once again, another nicely timed spell from Duckling. He's just so good at placing those. All right, so both players just kind of regrouping now. The Empire really far behind in the balance of power, though. As you can see, their infantry and cavalry losses really impacting that balance of power. And the High Elf still very healthy as far as its army goes. I mean, we still have all 3 archers. They still have some decent ammunition. We still have plenty of spearmen. Not to mention the Dragon Princes are still around, and Imric. So right now, not looking too great for the Empire, but a regrowth should help the balance of power a bit. Should help get the leadership a little bit higher for the Empire. Alright, Imric kind of out here in no man's land by himself. Looks like he's going to get attacked by pistoliers and such. I mean, at this point, what Imric and everything should do is just come back here to his infantry line and his archers, in my humble opinion. That's the best course to take at this stage of the fight. Yeah, just get everything over here. Where's that Mage of Life? Oh, it's over here chasing something. Some spearmen. Oh, it missed one of the Dragon Princes. That's a shame because it looked like that should have caught the second Dragon Prince. I'm really confused why it didn't. That's painful because they're still at 44 models, so you can heal them almost right back to 100%. Pistoliers running low on ammunition. Only one of them with any ammo left by the looks of it with the handguns. Very tattered, but very high on ammunition. All right. Mage of Life stuck over here by herself, getting knocked out by Carl. Carl smashing her. And now Imric coming over. The Jade of Wizard also getting knocked out right now. And now it's Imric versus Carl Franz. And Carl Franz has all of his buffs popped, so Imric has got to be careful. But he did have Dragon Horn popped for that melee attack bonus. And there's Dragon Princes coming in now to assist him in his engagement with Carl Franz and Deathclaw. And that's going to be a GG after an epic duel between these two legendary duelists. Looking good, Beaky. Or Deathclaw. You're not Beaky. That's Lewin's mount. So Imric doing very well for himself. Same with the Mage of Life, getting some good damage there with those Awakenings of the Wood. Archers pretty much went unopposed, and one of them, wow, getting some good value there. Dragon Princes, though, look at this. Over 2,000 value on each of them. 2 chevrons. And man, yeah, the Dragon Princes and Imric. I just love this build, and I love watching Duckling play it. He is very, very talented with his micro, especially for somebody just getting into multiplayer. I know he's played plenty of campaign before, but don't be fooled, people. It's not an easy transition, campaign to multiplayer. They're very different animals, so the transition he made in less than a week is quite impressive. Meanwhile, Emperor Carl Franz getting 2,900 damage value. I took off the blocker so you can see. It seems like the Pistoliers there were definitely doing the majority of the labor. Grenade launchers not getting too much work done. So let's update that scoreboard. So it is 1-0, and we'll get to round 2. All right, next up, we got Lizardmen versus Dark Elves. All right, ladies and gentlemen, kicking into slow-mo, starting with our red player. Got Dark Riders on either flank with shields, repeater crossbows on either flank. Gonna have 3 bleak swords, 2 dread spears, 2 dark shards with shields. Looks like we have a K-Knight assassin here in the center with pretty much everything. Is that the black dragon egg, dark venom, black lotus, assassin's trophy, and web of shadows? Got some Dark Riders with shields out there, looking for vanguarded units, and it looks like that's going to be the same on both flanks. Up in the air, we do have Lokir Fellheart, so a no magic build, that's surprising. On top of his Black Dragon, he's got Deadly Onslaught, Dreaded Duelist, Foe Seeker, and Helm of the Kraken, and Merciless Slaver. So, that rounds out the Dark Elf army, and now we're going to do the Lizardmen here, led by Duckling. Similar build to the Empire one we just saw. Got 2 spears, 2 warriors, 2 skink cohort, 2 of them with javelins, 2 more spears, so more spears in this build. I'm guessing to counter manticores and things like that. And then you have chameleon skinks on the right flank, 2 skink chiefs on the left, 2 solar engines, and a Slann Mage Priest of Fire with Burning Head and Fireball and Kindle Flame. And I love the Slann Mage Priest of Fire, especially with solar engines. The Kindle Flame and the solar engine damage really synergizes nicely. So here it comes. It looks like Lizardman player here going for a Mighty Ducks V formation almost. You know, just kind of like peeling his flanks back and refusing engagements as these guys get closer. Chameleon Skinks opening fire on the repeater crossbows now, doing quite a lot of damage. And the solar engines just continuing to pound away. Burning Head coming in. Oh, and it's going to be just mistimed. Going to do a touch of damage to the Bleak Swords, but nothing else. Solar Engine's focusing now on Lokir Fellheart with the Skink Chiefs. Repeater Crossbows firing away, but the swords with shields, you know, they have a 35% missile block chance. And it's not going to be the most valuable targeting for these Repeater Crossbows. They're definitely needing to kill the Solar Engines and the Slann. But right now, Dark Elf's having a tough time getting through this Lizardman defense. The front line is holding on just fine against the Bleak Swords. He threw down a shield of the old ones there to assist his allies with the 20% ward save and extra leadership. Here comes a Banishment. Interestingly enough, doesn't look like it's going to connect as the Dark Riders continue charging forward, but yeah, right now, Lizardman looking really strong here against this Dark Elf build. And I have to say, the lack of magic is really, you know, surprising here. Breath coming in, going after one of the Bastiladons, but not doing the most damage. The Black Dragon Breath, if I recall, is a little bit better against large groups of units rather than single entities. Burning Head from the Slann Mage Priest there, doing a ton of damage that time. And the Solar Engines, now they're starting to get like a targeted by the Repeater Crossbows. Dark Shards are starting to shoot at the Slann Mage Priest, but I think it's just too little too late at this point. You can see the Skink Cohort with Javelins, still have a little bit of ammo, doing a good job just turning, throwing in volleys into all these Dark Elves, while the main forces take out Lokir Fellheart. Ooh, but a K-Knight Assassin getting on top of the Slann Mage Priest of Fire. Slann needs to get the hell out of here. He does not stand a chance in melee combat against a K-Knight Assassin. And it looks like Lokir Fellheart's coming into combat too. So Dark Elves going for the Hail Mary here. It looks like they may get the Alpha Strike on the Salon Mage Priest. Solar Spears are getting into combat, though. And Lokir Fellheart going in for a charge against the Solar Engine. I just don't think he has enough health to be doing stuff like that. But he needs to be in melee to be regenerating his HP, so I understand the predicament. Right now, doubting he's going to be able to get back up into the air. I stand corrected. Okay, Night Assassin coming after him again. Lokir Failheart falling in the distance back there. And now, okay, Night Assassin going after the Salon Mage Priest once again. But I just think it's going to be too little too late. Morton 1991, welcome to the stream and happy Christmas to you as well. Maximus Decimus, good to see you, man. And Raziel Ball, I'm glad you agree with every word I say. I know you said that a long time ago, so sorry for missing it. But, yeah, looking across the battlefield, Salon Mage Priest did go down for the count, but Solar Engines are still full health, Skink Chiefs are still full health. Lizardman got this in the bag. Glad to hear it. More in 1991. And lurking helps too, friend. This Duckling guy seems pretty cool, doesn't he? Duckling 666. How are you doing, you sexy bastard? Good to see you here. I've just been singing your praises for the last hour or so. Hope you've been enjoying watching the replays of these fine battles. And this was a very clean victory for the Lizardmen. I think the Dark Elves, big mistake not having any magic in the build. And I think he was just kind of caught off guard by this Lizardman build. It seemed like he was on his heels a bit. Solar Engine's just getting so much value. Lokir Failheart really getting shut down. Night Assassin doing okay for himself. But other than that, you know, just really didn't come together for the Dark Elves. So well played to Nandan, a.k.a. Duckling. Not the Duckling in the chat. That's a different guy who is completely unbiased and just saying this Duckling guy seems cool. But let's go ahead and get to our next best of 3, since he won that one as well. All right, Le Monsieur is going to have Lizardmen, and Adon, aka Duckling, will have High Elves. I can't spell Monsieur. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get to it. The 5th battle of today, we got Duckling versus Le Monsieur. Karak Ungor is the map. And we got Imric again with a Noble, Mage of Life, 2 Dragon Princes, 2 Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, and some Lothar and Seaguard. Sexy, sexy, sexy. So starting with our yellow/blue player, Duckling. Got Illyrian Reavers on the right flank, so similar deployment to the last High Elf battle he had. Got 5 Spearmen, a single Lothar and Seaguard, 2 Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, another Illyrian Reaver, the 2 Dragon Princes, and then the Hero Squad I mentioned earlier. The Noble, Naked, and then we got Earthblood Indwellers below this time on the Mage of Life. Now, going over the Lizardman army, got Chameleon Skinks, 1 on either flank. We got a Feral Carnosaur in the center. Got 4 Skink Cohort, 4 Saurus Warriors with shields. We got Mazda Mundi with his usual kit, including Net of Mintok and a Harmonic Convergence. And then we have a Saurus Scar Veteran on top of a Carnosaur as well. He is bringing nothing on top of himself. And that does appear to round out this Lizardman army. Very straightforward, smash and grab, no ranged business, to be seen. And we'll see who comes out on top. This is a battle I actually did not get to watch since it wasn't streamed, and since, you know, we obviously weren't in the battles with our trainees, because that could be seen as cheating. So, Chameleon King's doing some good jobs against Lyrian Reavers. I like that they're pulling away from that engagement right now, not committing too early or anything like that. Meanwhile, on the left flank, you can see the Dragon Princes have just come out for huge charges, and Lyrian Reavers too. It looks like the Lyrian Reavers got netted for some reason. And over here, Dragon Prince is now pulling back before the Feral Carnosaur can come in to get in combat with them. Over here, Mazdamundi getting way out of position. Oh no, the Noble, Imric, everybody piling down on top of Mazdamundi. Some of the Spearmen getting a rear charge from Skink Cohort, so that's a pain. But both Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers also on top of Mazdamundi, and they are just doing work right now. Spearmen coming out to hit the Saurus Warriors. They should be able to buy enough time. And if Mazdamundi does not get the hell out of here, he's doomed. Here comes a big fat banishment, though. This banishment could decimate all of this high elf infantry, and look at that. Going to be seen. Oh my god, a Dwellers Below and a banishment. So both players just murdering their opponent's infantry with magic here. But who's going to come out on top? Right now, Mazdamundi still looking worse for wear after getting stuck in this prolonged engagement with Imric and his Noble. That was absolutely crazy cool trade-off between the two players. A deadly banishment and a deadly Dwellers Below just getting popped off simultaneously. Coming back here, we see Mazdamundi getting lower and lower on HP. Lord of Dragons has been popped on top of him. Apotheos is going down too. Imric and the Noble still just unscathed at this point. Noble getting a rear charge, though, taking some damage. Harmonic Convergence is now on top of Mazdamundi. Spearmen are piling in. Does look like the Mage of Life is going to go down, but the Lizardman infantry is starting to waver. And if the High Elves can eliminate the infantry support, then they got this in the bag. With all the Spearmen and Dragon Princes, they should be able to drag down these single entities with the help of Imric, of course. Oh, Dragon Prince is coming back in. Looks like they're going in for charges into Mazdamundi at the moment. Mazdamundi is going to begin routing. Feral Carnosaur is not going to be winning the engagement against Imric in the long haul. And yeah, I think this was a very good fight to both players. I think Mazdamundi just got ahead of himself too early in the battle there and really got himself in a precarious position. That banishment almost pulled it off, and I think it would have pulled it off if it weren't for the Dwellers Below going down in retaliation right after. Yeah, 39-40 versus 68-72 for melee and defense stats, respectively. Scar Veteran just not able to take down Imric right now. Imric is a monster. And that's a GG. Well played. That was a good match. I enjoyed that one. I have not seen that one as of yet, so really happy to see the unit prioritization there. The Dragon Prince is just, once again, he uses them so well. 1200 value there, 686, 150 kills though, and you know that's a lot of infantry against the Lizardmen if you take that into account. Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers both paying for themselves and then some. One of the Lyrian Reavers doing very well. The Spearmen really holding up admirably against that Lizardman front line, and Imric getting some good value with the Noble. But yeah, that was a good fight, and I think it really did come down there to Mazdamundi just got really isolated really quickly, and that's a hard thing to recover from, but not to take away from Duckling's victory there because he capitalized on it. He kept Mazdamundi isolated. He made sure he couldn't leave, and he was able to capitalize on his enemy's mistake, take the victory. Mazdamundi did get 1700 values, or Scarvet 1200, so they did well, but everything else kind of underperforming on the Lizardman side. All right, we have Bretonia versus the Vampire Counts now, folks. So Duckling bringing the Bretonians, and his opponent, Le Monsieur, going to be bringing the vampire counts. Alright, so it looks like we have 3 Blood Knights, couple Graveguard Great Weapons, 2 White Kings, and Heinrich Kemmler against the Fae, double Paladin, 3 Questing Knights, and a Grail Knight with 5 Peasant Bowmen, 1 Poison, 2 Fire, 2 regular Battle Pilgrims, and then some Peasant Mob front lines. So without further ado, let's get right to it. Shaunicus, thank you so much for the follow, my friend. I hope you're enjoying the stream, and if that was a mistake, too late. You can't take it back. Got zombies, 1, 2, 3, 4 up there for the front line. Graveguard with great weapons, 1 on either flank. Got 2 skeleton spearmen and then 1 skeleton warrior. Got a couple Fellbats up in the air. The 2 White Kings that I mentioned, who will both have Scab's Wrath. Heinrich Kemmler, who has the Krell summon, as well as Van Hell's Dance Macabre. Invocation from the Heck and Raise Dead. Chaos Tombblade there too. And then, of course, the Blood Knights. Okay, my game just kind of stuttered there for a second. But let's go take a look at that Bretonnian army. Starting with the peasants. Got the peasant mob that we mentioned. 3 of them, 1 pilgrim and 4 spearmen at arms. And then the Questing Knights and the Grail Knights. Looks like we have 2 Questing Knights and a Grail Knight on this flank with the Fae Enchantress and the double Paladins. I know we said Dragon Princes are beautiful, but I personally like Bretonnian Knights the most. And then we have the other Questing Knight on the left flank too. So this is a very left flank heavy Bretonnian build. The other Questing Knight going out wide on the right flank. Over here, looks like everybody's coming in. Dwellers below getting down on top of the Blood Knights. A beautiful cast from our Bretonnian player here, Duckling, catching all of these guys. And then here comes a Chalice of Potions. Boom! Goodbye, Blood Knights. Absolutely beautiful AoE uses there, but Blood Knights coming in for a rear charge here, the one that was able to pull out. The other 2 Blood Knights are crumbling now, so we'll see if Bretonnians can capitalize on that. But this has just been one gigantic blob engagement on the left side, but Bretonnia going in there prepared with the Dwellers below, and it looks like they're coming out, at least initially, here on top of the trade. So we'll see if they can hang in there. Questing Knights taking down the Graveguard with great weapons, and then cycle charging between them and the frontline infantry. Over here, Questing Knights doing the same thing against the other side of Graveguard with great weapons. Questing Knights absolutely wonderful at dealing with heavily armored infantry. All right, Questing Knights pushing in, knocking out these Graveguard with great weapons. Meanwhile, going back to the cavalry engagement, we can see both of those Blood Knights, one of them still crumbling, the other one at critical binding, but they took some serious damage from that Dwellers Below and the Chalice of Potions. The 3rd Blood Knight is still doing okay for itself, and Earthblood is going down, but the Fae Enchantress is getting attacked right now by Heinrich Kemmler and Krell and some Blood Knights, so she desperately needs to get out of there, and right now it's just not looking like she is. Also have some idle Questing Knights over here that could be getting back into combat. But right now, very even fight. Still anybody's game. A beautiful Scab's Wrath coming in here on top of the Peasant Bowmen. They're going to shatter almost immediately afterwards. But the frontline engagement for the vampires has not been won. And that's a big problem for them, because even if their Blood Knights can, win this in the long haul, it looks like they're actually starting to come back and get healed up. Then they're still going to be in a world of hurt when they have to try to chew through all of this peasant chaff. And there's still some Questing Knights over here that are quite healthy. So I think Bretonnia is looking like they're in a fairly strong position here, but that will all change on a dime if the Fae Enchantress goes down or something like that. I fell. And Shaunicus, I'm glad you're enjoying the play-by-play dialogue. And Duckling, you absolutely learned from your mistakes. You're a monster. We need to play some battles again soon. Maybe we can play some right now if you're free. But Peasant Bowman firing away, shooting the Fellbats. Fellbats trying to get in there and shut down some of the fire. Fae Enchantress coming back over here. Oh my goodness, another Dwellers Below. Oh, once again, beautifully placed. The dwellers below hitting all 3 Blood Knights, and I think that's going to be enough to knock him out completely. And if it isn't, the Chalice of Potions certainly will. Oh, beautiful day. And yeah, that's going to seal the fate of the Vampire Cavalry, but both Paladins are still stuck here in combat. Some Questing Knights doesn't look like they're doing the best. They do have Spearmen at Arms supporting them, so that's a big boon. But yeah, looks like we're going to be seeing a Bretonnian victory here over the Vampire accounts after a very decisive and prolonged left side engagement. The Cav met here and died here. This is like where the battle was, you know, decided, at least the cavalry portion. And then obviously the Bretonnians did a good job, I think, eliminating the front line just by pressuring them with the arrows, keeping them pinned in place long enough. Over here, though, you can just see like where the dwellers were, where the Questing Knights fell. This is actually kind of horrific when you look at it. Paladin needs to get the hell out of combat. There's no reason to be in there. Fire arrows inbound. Questing Knights with the rear charge. And that's going to be all she wrote for the vampires, methinks. And another GG, well played to Duckling. Right there. And that did complete the 3 best of 3s he had to play for the group stage with 4 players. Now, in case you didn't notice, he did win all of his matches in the group stage. My beautiful, beautiful Duckling. The Saga was very victorious on the first day. On the second day, and I will direct you guys over to the Total War channel, because that is where the final was cast between my recruit and Falcon's recruit. And they fought a best of 5 final, and it was a great series. And the only thing I really want to say about the finals there, but first let's cover this post-battle screen. Bay Enchantress. $4,588 value. That's one of the highest values I've seen on her. Those dwellers below, the chalices of potion, were crazy effective both times. So huge shout out to Duckling once again for his immaculate placement of spells and breaths. Peasants did their job. Arrows got a lot of kills, so they were definitely killing off most of the chaff for the Bretonnians, along with the Cav. Questing Knights doing very, very well for themselves. Blood Knights doing okay, but not having the best time after, you know, those dwellers below, the Chalice of Potions, you know, coming down on top of them. It was quite vicious. So an excellent game to Duckling there. And let's go ahead and hop back out here. So those were all of his battles from the group stage. I do believe we were missing 1 or 2 losses. So do want to call that out. So the other players, if they're watching this, just didn't get those replays around them. So sorry, some of those guys did not lose 2-0. But Duckling did indeed win all 3 of his best of 3s in the group stage. He went on to the best of 5 final against Falcon's trainee, where he was defeated. And I want to say that I really put the final defeat very much on my own shoulders, because the last two battles in particular, especially the last battle, Skaven versus Dwarf, I just don't think I gave the best advice as a coach. I recommended a faction that I know is a good counter to a faction, but a faction that Duckling wasn't used to playing, and that was Skaven. And he put up a great fight, but Skaven is definitely a faction that if you're not used to playing him, is one of the hardest factions to learn. And I really was kicking myself in the head a lot after that best of 5 final, because I just don't think I gave my recruit the best build advice. The first battles there, he had Dark Elves and Vampire Counts, so he was Vampire Counts against the Dark Elves, and he played wonderfully, doing so much good work against them, but then just narrowly coming out short. Same with the second battle, but then that third battle, I just really dropped the ball. So my apologies there. But yeah, Duckling, an excellent player, an excellent trainee, a really good sport, very eager to learn, smart guy, and I hope he keeps playing. I hope he signs up for my tournament, signs up for the Ent Ladder battles, Rubber Duck of Wars tournaments. I'm sure he's already doing, since its name is Duckling. I think it's clear he's a Rubber Duck of War fan. But yeah, I hope he keeps up the good work. He's awesome to work with, and yeah, once again, my apologies to him for not having enough time to train with him as much as I know we both would have liked. And then especially in the final, I just think I really dropped the ball on him as a coach with not giving him the best build advice for the best of 5. So, but on that note, let's give a huge shout out to him. If anybody's here in the chat, Duckling, this was your Saga. And I know it wasn't completely, but like I wanted to own up to that, Duckling. My build advice for the last battle there was really off, and I just was so disappointed with myself for telling you to play Skaven. But you played beautifully, man. Second place in the Teach Me Total War tournament went to my trainee, Duckling. Guy's awesome. He only had half a week to train. He had a trainer who was not available very much, and he still kicked ass and got second place in the Teach Me Total War tournament event. I do want to give a big thank you to Creative Assembly and to Rubber Duck of War for getting this event organized, and Rubber Duck of War in particular for shooting me the invite to be a part of this wonderful event, and for helping me find this wonderful trainee, Duckling, after my trainee dropped out halfway through the week. So thank you to everybody who was involved, all of the coaches and trainees who signed up. You guys are awesome. Falcon and his trainee are both getting a horn goblet thing, like a horn tankard. Duckling and I are both getting Warhammer 3 for free. We're getting some mugs and some other cool merchandise from CA. So all in all, a wonderful experience, a wonderful event, and I hope to have more of them like this in the future for Total War. But in the meantime, let's finish up Game 2 strong. We got Season 10 of the HW League going on right now. Or no, it's Season 9. I can't remember what season we're on. I think it's 9. And Season 7 of the Fresh Recruit League. The playoffs are coming up very beginning of January. So everybody take care of yourself. Have a wonderful Christmas. I'll try to stream again in the near future. I think I'm going to call it off here for now, though, just because that stray dog I picked up has been howling and making noises throughout the stream. So I feel like I need to go play with it or something, since it's going to be stuck with me for a couple more days until the shelters open back up after the holiday. But anyway, that's enough of that. Duckling, once again, you're the man. Hit me up anytime you want to play games. And I'm really glad we have the same headphones, because we're just two great minds thinking alike. But on that note, my son HW, going to be signing out of here. Y'all take care of yourselves, and I will see you on the battlefield.